Hello everyone and welcome to Crypto Ripto. I'm Christian and in today's video we're going to be looking at, you got it, Bitcoin and also the whole crypto market as a whole. We are seeing a sea of green for the first time in a long time. We've had so much doom, gloom, FUD, mud, everything thrown at the crypto market. But now is the time that we're seeing the fear and greed index shoot over 50 and also a lot of momentum in the market is saying that it's positive. We have got the hedge funds, the family funds, and of course the crisis is making people pour into crypto. But is this a good thing or is it something we should be cautious of? Well, we're going to look at the news, reviews and overviews today and see what it is we can tell from this market pump. But before we do all that good stuff, hit that like button, smash the subscribe bar and tickle that bell notification because it does help the channel. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So before I give you all this cool information, we have to do that strange old bit is anything you see, hear or choose to ignore is not financial advice. No, this bad boy is here for your educational purposes. So let's jump straight into CoinMarketCap and see what is the crypto market saying. Boom. Well, as you can see right at the top here, BTC is up 43.2% and ETH 18.1%. We are looking here for a sea of green for the first time in a long time. We've got the usual ones, the Tether and the USDC stables that go red, green like the traffic lights of Piccadilly Circus. But as a whole, we are seeing the market is responding well to the upside. So for me, this is absolutely great news. We've also got what I said, the fear and greed index is over 50 in neutral. We have been looking at the last week of extreme fears as low as 20. So for now, we are seeing people get a bit more of a bullish momentum into the crypto market. The rainbow chart of the Bitcoin is still saying we're in a still cheap mode. This is always going to be like this for the moment because obviously until Bitcoin sort of breaks its higher highs and gets past that kind of all-important 50k mark, we won't see much movement on this. But this chart is still relevant and still very important because it does give a good picture of Bitcoin as a whole. Although this doesn't take into account that we've just gone into kind of the dark times of the Russian and Ukrainian war, because Bitcoin has never really experienced this. The last time this happened was 2014 and the last crypto bull run was 2017. So we didn't really have a lot of this BS that we're dealing with now. But as I said, this chart still one to look at. The fear and greed index is definitely one to look at. But what is it that's causing this to come all in at once? Well, obviously you'll have no surprise that it is down to a lot the Russian and Ukraine. Now, if we have a look here, major cryptocurrencies including Bitcoin and Ethereum rise amid fear Russia will use them to evade sanctions. Now, for me, this is the only bad bit of news I can find in a long time. And no surprising, it is these boys at Forbes that are saying it. Now, yes, Forbes is a financial magazine and they do like to be pretty much on the institution sides, but who cares? Because for the first time, and I'm buzzing about this, the institutions, the market makers, the manipulators do not have a hold on Bitcoin at the moment. This price is having a domino effect from people trying to get their money out of Ukraine, out of Russia, and obviously what's happening. Obviously, that's not just going to move it on its own, but what's happening is the big hedge funds, family funds, and all the FOMO funds are having a domino effect where they're seeing they're not waiting for their low price orders after their big squeeze and suppression to get filled. They're seeing the market take a turn due to obviously buying in with the news and obviously the current affairs and markets that they're having now to raise their game, buy these at a little bit higher price than they originally planned to because people are accumulating them in the droves, which you'll see in the price chart that I'll do at the end. But on top of this, a little bit of bad news, which I won't be on long. This is the evading sanctions. Obviously, I wanted to show you this because there's going to be a lot of FUD, FOMO, and YouTubers out there that say, oh, will cryptocurrency get hammered now because the governments and SECs, blah, 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 come after it because Bitcoin will be used to evade Russian sanctions, will be used to launder money, blah, blah. This is nothing new to them. And no, it's not. They are taking a stance that they're asking the exchange not to let it happen, to be vigilant, and to sort of keep an eye on it. They know they can't combat that. They've got enough of their own crap on the plate. They don't want to start taking on the exchanges and the crypto world as of yet. So for me, they're not fighting against them. They're trying to work with them to say, look, we're all in this thing together. None of us want to be in it. Not even the people in Russia want to be into this war. Please do not let the big players try and launder their money or get their money through crypto. And I think the exchanges are responding well. So that's that bit of information. On top of that, we're going to go into Russia and Ukraine are piling into crypto. Well, you knew this was going to happen. They're getting their assets frozen, sanctions, they're getting their savings being threatened to be taken away from them. People are queuing and queuing and queuing in these countries to get their money out of these centralized banks, what we've been saying in crypto for absolutely ever and a day. So they're pulling it out on the masses. But they're not going to tear around these dodgy times and these countries with pockets full of cash and fiat and the ruble that's falling out of its arse, or the Ukrainian currency that's just absolutely getting frozen and suppressed at the moment. They're going to get it into crypto because they can have as much as they want and they can run around with things like this and this. And can you imagine how much money? And all you got to do is keep this safe and this safe. You're not got to run around with bags and bags of absolute cash. So it just makes absolute sense. So in the news, you can go over to this. This is on Quartz. And it's saying that the Ukrainian battle with the Russian army, the Russian economy faces meltdown, which we know the Bitcoin surpassed the ruble, and they're turning to crypto. The trading volumes in Bitcoin are absolutely going through the roof. Now, we're not just going to jump on the bandwagon and say, well, Bitcoin's only blowing up because of Russia. Yes, it is because of the crisis, but it's like I said, it's having a domino effect. This is what I wanted to explain on this video. This is triggering now that the bulls are thinking this is now the time. We cannot wait any longer. The price has been suppressed enough. Let's try and get this momentum running. And the reason why the bears are backing off a bit is because another thing, which I'm going to tell you now, is 250 million has been liquidated after Bitcoin sparked 44. So the bears are literally getting melted in their tracks. You can see 130 million worth of Bitcoin shorts no longer exist in the market as Bitcoin reaches 44,000. So what's it going to be like when you've got them few dumb bears holding on and Bitcoin shoots a bit higher high? So let's just recap this quickly before I blow your mind with a Bitcoin price chart. Is that the crypto market is absolutely booming. Bitcoin is trending. It's going through the roof. It's up 14% on the day. You've got even Shiba Doge and all these just flying through. You've got XRP on the back of news that it's had a lot of its coins obliterated by design, by the way. You've got Terra Luna, which has absolutely been flying. Look, on the 7-day, up 76% in a crisis. So if crypto is dead, if crypto is so fearful and everyone's saying you're going to lose your money, be cautious and all stuff like this, which you should do your own research, but also just look at the market. Look at the market. The market is responding very well. But also what we'll need to do as well, and I will do a separate video on this, is we need to look at the exchanges closely and look at where the orders are, where the pricing orders are, and where we see the money moving in and out the exchange. But that is such a big topic that we'll have to do our own video on that, which I will do, because that is something that I follow closely. Because if you know about the crypto market, you need to know about where the resistance is, where the support is, and where the kind of money is flowing in and out of the market. So with all that cool information, the only bit of FUD is the fears that Russia is going to move its money, but the governments are battling that with the exchanges. We've got obviously the obvious of the Russians and the Ukrainians piling the money into crypto, which is causing a pump. With that comes the caveat of the bears are fleeing back to the woods because they are getting liquidated in their drove. The fear is going now to neutral, so the market is not in extreme fear. We've got the Bitcoin rainbow price chart still saying everything's cheap, so now it's still kind of a sale. And we come to that all-important Bitcoin price chart. Boom. So as you can see here, we're looking at, first of all, the daily chart. Now, we are theoretically still in a downtrend with a 50-day doing the death cross of the 200-day moving average. But We was in this descending triangle, which we talked about on this channel a lot. We was all about the 40k support. We bounced back into our accumulation buying zone, hit that perfectly, shot back up. We had that big fearful crash when the first instance of the war, the war happened, and it shot back down to here. And then since then, we've been getting this ultra volume in here, and we've been shooting up well above the 44,000 mark. So as you can see now, we're past this 40k neutral mark, which is front run at 41. We've blast through a lot of the resistance here, and we're coming up to where we would have had our original sell area. But for now, I'm seeing Bitcoin get a lot of momentum and a lot of bullishness, because this is the daily candle. You can see here that the bulls went all the way up. The bears tried to suppress them down, which would have been the people just panicking, thinking, I've got to sell because this is a fad. Then obviously the money come back in. The bulls are definitely in charge of this rally, and they said, no, you can still sell it down, we'll buy it off you cheap, and we can continue to go high. So the next big key areas now are the 45 to 46,000 mark, which is the top of our sell box here, and also this 200-day moving average. But for me, as you can see here, I still think Bitcoin's got a little way to go in the legs, because I think once we take this bounce, we confirm this as support, we'll start putting in a few kind of higher highs and higher lows. So at the moment, we've got the higher lows. We're still just crisping on the fact of a lower high, but I don't think it's going to be long. We've got absolute kind of small area before we start to put in higher highs. So then once we start turning this into an uptrend, and we're trading from here to kind of these levels here, so we're looking at just over an 8% increase before we start getting into higher highs, which is not much at all. Now I think for what people are saying for Bitcoin to get back up to these levels and put in higher highs here, I think, which is around about the 55,000 mark, I think that is really ambitious. But the way Bitcoin's going with the domino effect and stuff like this, that could really happen. Charge of this. Now, a lot of people are going to see this is a relief rally, this is a bounce, this is the institutions just buying up to suppress. But this, to me, is different this time. And I'll tell you why it's different, because they are not in control of it this time. This has been triggered by what's called, in my opinion, a disaster wave. This is not manipulated or engineered. It's been by the disaster of Putin being an absolute joker, also a clown, and doing the war. So for me, this took it out of their control. They're just riding the coattails of this, as the same as I do them, and this is what's causing this pump. So I hope this has been super informational for you. I've really enjoyed doing this video because it's is a lot of good news in there. There's a lot of bullish momentum. Don't be too fearful at the moment. You know, when this gets up and it goes from neutral into sort of like semi-greed, then you can probably look to take some chips off the table. But I think